let us go on to the next thing. So another thing, we have our chicken and we have our roasted vegetables. Remember, our pre-roasted vegetables and cooking some kind of protein on the weekend when you have time is really, really important. So I'm making a little Budda bowl. In this one, I'm using some whole grain pasta. Again, something that you may have had from spaghetti the week, a few days before, and you save the extra noodles. So this is something that can be already in your refrigerator, something that you can put together quickly. And now we want to make a sauce that's going to pull it all together, and we want to add some fresh crunch to it. And that's going to make this a really, really enjoyable meal. So let's make our peanut dipping sauce. So we're using some peanut butter, and I'm always using this natural peanut butter. You don't want to get something that has the hydrogenated oils in it. So let's put some, it's about 3 tablespoons of peanut butter here. And once you stir it up, you can keep it in the fridge, and that will keep it all together so it doesn't separate anymore. But this is a very nice little simple peanut sauce. It's really good on noodle salads or in these Budda bowls. It is something that you can use very creatively with different things. But it does have an Asian flair to it. So that's probably what you're going to do, because we're going to use a little soy sauce. I'm using a lower, I'm going to just use this guy, lower sodium soy sauce. This one is 2 tablespoons, which is, I'm just going to guess 2 tablespoons here. 1, 2, to go into our lower sodium soy sauce is recommended. And now we're going to use a little bit of brown sugar. If you don't want to use brown sugar, you could use, let's see, what could you use? You could use some maple syrup. You could, because it's sort of neutral, and I'm not using much. It actually says to use 1 to 2 tablespoons, and I'm only going to throw in 1 tablespoon. But I am using an unsweetened, unsweetened peanut butter. We don't want to use like Jif or Skippy or some of these pre-sweetened ones. And then there's either lime juice or some rice vinegar, and I'm going to use rice vinegar today. And because it's also really mild, but the either one works. And again, I'm just going to kind of guess 2 tablespoons. So I'm 1, 2, and we'll throw that. And that's going to give it some of that tartness. Remember, we have sweetness, we have tartness, we have saltiness, we have a kind of that creamy peanutty taste. And I'm going to add a little pungency with some chili garlic sauce. This is something that you don't really need. You can just be using regular garlic, and you can also use some like sriracha sauce or your favorite hot sauce to it. This is just a nice little condiment. And again, we're using condiments within condiments. These are things that my refrigerator is filled with, but it gives us more options to play. And I think of food, making this kind of food, as playing. This is how we get creative. This is, as for adults, this is our crayons, and this is our chance to explore new flavors and to make cooking fun instead of something that we say, oh my gosh, I have to cook again today and tomorrow and the next day. So it kind of gives us a better perspective and a happier attitude. I have 2 teaspoons of minced ginger here. Now, ginger is something that you want to buy fresh, but you don't have to buy a whole lot of it. I'm just going to put quite a bit of this in here. I don't know what I did with my ginger. I think I put it away already, but it's a knob that should look a little bit shiny. You can use a spoon to peel it and then chop it very finely. You can use a grater to get it very small. I just basically chop it up. And but this is extremely anti-inflammatory. So ginger is one of those things that you want to have also in your refrigerator, but you just buy a little bit. You don't need to buy a huge, big bulb of ginger. The grocer doesn't mind if you break off just a little piece. You can also freeze excess if you wish, and you can grate it frozen. That's another option. So now we're stirring this together. And I am going to use a little water to thin it because it's a little thick and I want to be able to drizzle it. So other sauces that use peanuts can use coconut milk, and that's another way to do it. That also makes a very beautiful creamy sauce, but it does have a lot more fat, a lot more saturated fat than this particular one. And I'm just going to really thin this out because I want to be able to pour the peanut sauce over it. And there, that's about what I'm looking for, is something that is just going to gently pour. So now what we've got is our little bowl, and I'm just going to pour just a little bit of this on top of the noodles and the chicken. Just kind of give it a little bit of pizzazz. And then the last thing, so this would be sort of a hot meal that you would reheat and then put the sauce on top, and now you would want to just make something crunchy. This is where it gets the textures, is what makes it so delicious. So I've got some beautiful red cabbage here. I want to just kind of toss some of this red cabbage on here. These kinds of simple slaws are something we can do at home very easily because red cabbage tends to stay in the refrigerator for very well for weeks and months even. And I've got a few little carrot things that I have sort of cut into a little bit of a fine cut. You can also have grated carrots. You can buy carrots already prepared for you so that it's not a big deal. And then I have something like green onions. Green onions are going to give some pungency, and some cilantro. If you hate cilantro, just avoid it. You don't need it. You could put in some parsley. You could put a little bit of fresh spinach, because you're always going to have spinach there. But basically you have this beautiful bowl that the whole family can kind of help make and put together their own little version of this. But as you can see, there's a variety of different textures. There's a variety of, and we're using meat. If you notice, that piece of chicken was very small. We did not need a lot of extra protein in there. You are getting plenty of protein here in America. You don't have to worry about it. But this will also be better for us in the long run. The vegetables are the medicines. The vegetables are what makes this so good for us. We tend to overdo in the meat and potatoes realm, and we kind of forget that the vegetables are the most important part for keeping us healthy.